Okay, it's flip number 4 of our 2019 aerobic composting effort. Here we go again. So the process or the procedure is as follows. You start the pile and you gotta let it sit for 4 days before you touch it. After 4 days you're gonna flip it, and from there on in you want to be flipping it every 2 days. What you're doing is, oh, that sucker's hot. I can feel it on the carpet. Oh yeah, it's nice. But what you're doing is, by flipping it, you're keeping it oxygenated. And in the beginning, you're trying to get it to fire up, so you're allowing it a couple more days to get established. And once it's established, then it's a matter of continuing to flip the pile, I think for 2 reasons. What was taught to me was you want to keep it oxygenated, because if you leave it sit for too long, it squeezes all down and then it starts to squeeze the oxygen out of it. And I think the other reason is, by flipping it, we're taking this outer material, and I've already explained to you what I think the lower part of the pile, it dries out and becomes inactive. So by flipping it, we continue to get the inactive material back into the center and bringing it back to being active. The other issue is you know, as it becomes inactive, all that bacteria that's in there eating, it died. So now we put it into the center of the new pile, and the live bacteria begins to eat it. So I don't know for sure. I'm not a scientist. I don't look at this stuff with microscopes, but that's what I'm told. We got to believe something. So I'm going to believe that is true. I got some old squash here that didn't make it through the winter. Actually, I just went down there and saw it. I got a mouse I caught in a mouse trap that's coming in here. Got a little pile of roots. I got a couple new ingredients I'm going to tell you about, but before I do that, we are going to get this process going. Like I mentioned in other videos, what I did was I scraped all the round balls of manure that haven't broken apart yet. They roll off the pile, and I scraped all those up at the end, and I placed them right here at the point where I'm going to start the new pile. So now all those balls of manure are going to be in the center of the new pile, or at least at the bottom of it. So I'm just flipping them around right now, kind of leaving them in place, getting it oxygenated. This time I'm going to do a little bit different. I'm watching myself on video do this, and I'm thinking, one of the things that I'm doing is I'm waiting to add any water or any other material that'll fire it up after I get this entire bottom of the pile turned into the new pile. And I think I'm waiting too long. I think I got to be adding as I go, as I build that part of it, because that's where it's the driest. So I'm going to start that right now. So I've got some roots of tansy and burdock. I'm not sure of the mineral contents of tansy for sure, but I know that burdock has a lot of iron. That's good. So we're recycling our iron. So now we got that there. I added about 10 gallons of water to this from the last time I tapped it. This is a barrel full of, it was, in the beginning, it was full, and it was a mixture of comfrey and kitchen discards like banana peels and apple cores, and eggshells were in there. And this particular barrel I had some deer bones, and also at that was about half of it at the top, and on the bottom it's all compressed and fermented comfrey. Comfrey is a really good plant to fire these things up. So I'm putting it at the bottom this time. I'm going to mix it up a little bit through the pile instead of waiting. So here's the comfrey that's been fermented. It smells really rich, smells really good. And I'm pretending to be a bacteria on this pile. Okay, I just put a little bit of water in there too from this process. Cheap plastic handle. Another thing I noticed I was doing is I was kind of tossing the water onto here. Some of the water was getting tossed away from the pile. So I'm going to pour it on right on the top. I'm just perfecting this as I go. And they spend a little bit of time on it on the PDC and they give you the idea. They get you thinking about it. And from there you got to do something. You got to start figuring out certain things. And I think I'm doing that. Yeah, it's actually pretty moist down here at the bottom too. It hasn't dried out as much as the last two. But I'm at the back of the pile too. Once I get to the front where the sun is, that should be drier there. So these insights that I'm cluing you in on from my experience here, these weren't taught to me in the PDC. What was taught is the method. What I'm cluing you in on is the refining that I've done. And I don't know if my teacher Jeff Lawton knows about this stuff or not. You think he has to because he claims to be the guy that's turned more compost than anybody on the planet. But regardless, he didn't teach me how to do some of this stuff that I'm teaching you now. And he charged me, he had me pay quite a bit of money to learn the methodology, and I'm glad I learned it. And I'm just letting you know that I'm trying to help people to get their gardens going, because we're going to need gardens in the future. I think I'll take off a segment of this. We're going to be having some food shortages, I think, and we already are having food shortages if we talk about the nutrition content of this stuff. And this stuff is that they're selling in the stores is just not even anything close to what our ancestors used to eat. At least those that weren't trapped in the overpopulated cities anyway. Ooh, this is looking really good. Let's get some more of this stuff in the middle here. I've got an asparagus patch for my backyard. By percentage, it's a fairly large one. And I got burdocks starting to come up in it. And I like burdocks. I like to let them grow. Bumblebees really like the blossoms. But they shade too much. They cast too much shade and I don't like it. The asparagus patch as it is. So I'm doing two things here. I'm clearing out my asparagus patch from competition. Now I'm going to be adding a really nice plant into this composting. See, that's what I was doing. I was throwing that water and look at it, I overshot the pile. So I got to get used to pouring it. Once I get all the bottom material off, I'm going to reposition the camera and I'm going to show you how I'm doing these slats. Oh yeah. last comfrey, and then that fish that had broken apart. That's working this pile. Okay. Yeah, I think this is a formula that I'm putting together. I don't know what else I'm going to figure out as I go along, but it's taking me all 10 of these first ones to figure out what I've done. And I don't really need to do this anymore because I got lots of space. But if you see some of my old videos, you see I had an old fence in the way, and I had a really tight spot. I was working with like 8 square feet. And when you do this, you can make a lot of compost, a lot of aerobic compost in a real small spot. What I'm doing is basically trading spots with the old to the new. So I started the slots way over here. I'm on my 3rd slot now that I'm building, or that I'm digging. So as I'm digging the slot, I'm putting it on top of the new pile. And then when I get down in it, then I scrape everything that rolled off into that slot. So now the bigger chunks that roll off, they're going to be at the bottom of the pile. That's where I want it to be. You know, the bottom here isn't quite as active. I think it's because I was putting that dry material there and not adding any water. It's still active, but I don't think it's as hot. I added water and greens to that material, this pile. That's the first time I did it that way. And we'll see how that works for the next round. There's a string from baling wire, right? Baling, hay bale string. Get that out of there. It's really warm, so it is working on the bottom. Just not exhibiting a lot of steam. Okay, now I got that slot built. Now I'm gonna break up the big chunks that fell around to the sides of the pile I'm making. We're putting the big chunks in there. So that's at the bottom of the pile. Ooh, that's, my angle of compost repose is collapsing. One side. I was also thinking that when I rake up all these balls when I'm finished, I'm going to rake a little more of the pile too. That way I have a little thicker base. Okay, now let's add some stuff. Now we're going to add some tansy. I pulled some tansy out of my asparagus bed, roots and all. I don't think those roots are going to be totally decomposed by the end of this, so I'm going to be cutting it short, but that's okay. I'll incorporate it into the beds. And the worms will eat it. Worms will finish it off. Oh, this is nice. So now I used to toss it, and then I was tossing some of it beyond the pile. I saw that on a video. Now I'm just going to pour it on. Ooh, that's nice. Heaven made for aerobic bacteria composting. Okay, now I'm going to make another slot. I'm starting to lengthen the pile out because I don't want it to get much higher than that. So I get a certain height and then I start to lengthen the pile. And if you feel like doing a lot of work, you can make these 20 feet long. Maybe with a bobcat, you can do it 50 feet long or 100 feet long. Just got to get the timing and the sequence right. And you got to have the material. And I think the only cost to do this on a large scale like that would be if you had a market garden. Instead of doing aerobic composting, instead of doing anaerobic composting, you'll be doing aerobic, which is better material. I think I have a much better distribution of new water and green material on this one. Just gotta get another scoop or two out of there. Okay, now we're going to reboot with all the stuff that rolled off the pile. Yeah, for my backyard I've had plenty to go around with these. For a while I was doing 2 a year. 1 year I think I did 3. Did one in the summer. Then I did 2 a year for a couple of years, and now I'm only doing 1. But the idea that I want to do is, on the food forest part of this and all my experiments, I don't want to add too much compost. But this has been going into the main crop gardens, in the kitchen garden a little bit. There's a little apprehension, so from my other partner, so she's a little careful. She doesn't want to take a whole bunch. But I got plenty for the main crop gardens, just with 1 a year. Again, if I had a main crop garden, I'd be wanting one of these going all the time. You're always got, discards from the operation, and you can just keep composting, just keep recycling it all right back in. The angle of compost repose collapsed on this side this time. I got all this larger material now back into the bottom. Get some green material in there. Next flip, I think I'm going to be using fresh comfrey. I got about 20 plants that are really growing fast now. Yeah. If you do this, you're going to be growing very healthy food. Very few people are doing it, so you'll be one of a very few, unfortunately. All right. Ooh, this is nice and hydrated here. Later I can see material here that's coming out that's not quite done yet. So I don't think we need to add any more. We'll save what's left in that barrel. I actually add a couple more gallons, two more 5-gallon buckets full of water to that. And we'll use it for the next flip with the fresh comfrey. Because this is nice right here. Nicely hydrated. We don't want to get it too wet. So we gotta, I mean, the line that balances the two is pretty broad. You got room for a lot of variables there. But there is a point at which when it becomes too wet, then it begins to go anaerobic. You'll tell that right away because of the smell. So I've slotted it over enough that I gotta move the camera, don't I? Well, the bottom seems a little bit dry. I think I figured that out when I watched the last video where I wasn't adding any water to the bottom. So this time I did. I'll bet that corrects this. Balances it out a little better. There goes my compost repose. My angle of compost repose is collapsing again. That might be a good sign because all these wood shavings are being reduced. Again, I also got some, these are really old onion bills that are no longer viable. I found them in the garage. I got a bunch of leaves and stuff in here. There might be a little garbage in here too, I don't know. It looks like there's some old honeycomb in there. That's okay. There's minerals in that too, I'm sure. And I got these old rat's tail seed heads. I was supposed to eat them, but I didn't know any better. Man, that thing is full on the bottom. It's nice and wet, I like that. That must have been sitting in the garage for 4 or 5 years. I haven't grown those for a long time. Alright. Oh, here's an old mouse sticky trap. Got a garbage bag over there, I'll put it in. We got a really nice pile there now, I think. Alright. I explained this a few times. I explained it in the beginning of this video and other videos. I'm taking all the stuff that rolled off the pile. These are larger chunks. The larger ones being having manure that's not breaking apart. And I'm getting it here on the point in the old of this new pile, so that in 2 days when this becomes the old pile and I start another new pile, then this will be the basis of the new pile. And I'm doing a little thinking here right now that maybe I'll just rake it away and put it inside one of the slots. I gotta think about that. That's it. Finish. I say I'm finished, but I keep going anyway. What the heck is wrong with me? Do as I do and not as I say. If I tell you you're finished, well, straighten it up a little better anyway. Even more. Alright.